Welcome to another episode of Investing in Intellectual Property with Dave. Today, we have a very special guest with us. The gentleman has created a company that provides drink spiking prevention products to people all over the world, which they sell in over 40 countries. They've been featured on media outlets such as Forbes, USA Today, Fox Business, and now Investing in IP with Dave. Please help me welcome Michael Benner.
Thanks for having me.
How's it going?
It's going good. Excited to be on, talk some IP.
Yeah, for sure. And hey, I'm excited to have you on. I know I was kind of explaining to you a little bit about the origin of the podcast kind of before we came on here. And I guess I typically like, and it seems like you have definitely some experience that I'm interested in knowing about and hearing about as it relates to the IP kind of background or how you had to navigate the IP side of things. But I typically like to I can kind of pull up the site as well so that people can at least get a physical, there you go, the product. I like to at least start with you maybe describing the product so people can understand visually kind of what's going on with your particular invention. And I know
Absolutely.
Your sister helped. I mean, your sister maybe was the origin, maybe invented it and kind of you helped her right along the way with everything. So I definitely want to put that out. So I don't want to make people feel like you invented this thing all by yourself. But I'm talking to you today, so just trying to see if you can maybe kind of describe the product for the audience.
Yeah, so we make drink spiking prevention products. Our main product is this one here on the screen, if you can see it. It's a scrunchie. You can wear it on your wrist or in your hair, and then when you get to the bar, party, wherever you're going, you just take it off. You pull the drink cover out from the pocket inside of the scrunchie, and then cover it over your drink, pop in the straw, and then your drink is covered while you're drinking. It's for, when your drink is near you while you're holding your drink. Drink spiking takes a half second for someone to drop something in. And so it's supposed to be used with, in addition to drink supervision. It's not for going to the bathroom and just leaving your drink there. Obviously, someone can do something to it. If you leave it completely unattended, it's for, making it more difficult for someone to do something, while it's near you or, and to deter them from trying in the first place. It's much more easy for them to get caught with something like this. So it's washable, reusable, and it's fun. We like to make fun solutions to serious problems.
Sure.
And so that's why it's become so big. And yes, I made the product with my sister. She came up with the product in a dream after some friends of hers went off to college. She was only 16 at the time. And they had their drink spiked. So she started working on the prototype. Yeah. And then I came home, I saw it, and I thought it was a great idea. So I started working on it with her. I was 21 in my last semester, going into my last semester of college.
So I know was your sister's friend 16 years old when she had her drink spiked, or was your sister 16 years old when she created the product?
My sister was 16. Her friend, she had some older friends that are a few years older that went off to college. Yeah.
Gotcha. No, and this is a great point that you bring up, because a lot of people think that, okay, and I probably do this and shouldn't do this in terms of kind of putting a drink down and go to the bathroom when I'm, I guess, out and about at a restaurant or whatnot, which obviously is not advice. But even with holding your drink in your hand and it being uncovered, a lot of times you're looking away, you're talking to friends, and people easily slip something in your drink. So this just kind of reduces the chances of that happening. Am I correct?
Exactly.
Okay, nice. And then, man, it came to her in a dream. So then as you're coming back, because I understand you guys are in the great state of Florida. I'm in Michigan here, which the weather is always kind of fluctuating. So coming back from college, because it's always interesting to me in terms of especially how things are being invented, how the business is being started. But in this case, being 16 years old, inventing a product. So you coming back at 21 years old from Florida State, I guess, did you know about patents a little bit and IP and kind of how to navigate this and take this to the next level? Or was this kind of a learning process for you just as much as it was for your sister?
I did not know much. I wanted to go to law school, so I did take like a pre-law class. So I knew like a few, it was probably like a chapter or two about IP in there. So I knew a little bit like, what patents were, what trademarks were.
Okay.
I definitely didn't know too much, especially because, the first mistake that we made, which ended up being a pretty big mistake, was, because we didn't know what we were doing. And that was, we switched lawyers halfway in between with our provisional patent, and there was kind of some miscommunication, and we didn't know you had to file internationally in the first year. And so we didn't. And so that's why we don't have patents outside of the US. which has really just completely destroyed the markets for us outside of the U.S. For the product. So, yeah.
And that's interesting because, again, I was reading as I was preparing for this that you guys sell in 40 countries. So it seems like, is it maybe more competition in, I guess, outside the U.S. since it's not protected outside?
We sell everywhere at first. When we're first getting going, the markets in Europe were really big for us, especially the UK. The first 6 months, and then you started getting tons and tons of knockoffs just being listed at the price. It's because the problem is they don't have to pay for anything. All they do is just make the product and bid on your keywords, and then they steal all your business. And they don't have any expenses. We had a huge market in the UK and a good amount in Europe, and now it's almost entirely gone.
Okay, so it's just the US then currently at this point, I would imagine, in terms of the market?
Yeah, we do a lot in Canada still, actually.
Okay.
But for the most part, it's pretty much those two.
So, and that's interesting. So did the patent attorney, did they just not tell you about that, or just kind of given the change there, did it get just lost in translation? Because again, like you said, that's a big, it's a mistake, but that's a big mistake that kind of cost you guys, it seems like.
Yeah, so my sister and my dad, they originally went and filed the provisional patent the very first time. I wasn't involved yet. So, it's possible they said something to them about it, like verbally. But I definitely didn't get any, by the time I came in, there was definitely no reminders sent or anything. I think that was due to the miscommunication of switching law firms at the time. Now we are working on one thing, which is we're working with a firm. They think that we can get a 3D trademark, which is a super rare. I'd actually never heard of 3D trademarks before last year. And they think we can get a 3D trademark on the product in the UK and Europe, which could potentially get the entire market back. So have you heard of that before?
Yeah, and I haven't heard of that. Now, is this U.S. counsel working with foreign counsel? Because I guess I'm not. So typically, at least how it works, from my understanding, is as a U.S. attorney, U.S. patent attorney, I know the laws and things like that as it relates to the U.S. A lot of times, you kind of know the laws a little bit in Europe or in China or in different countries, but you don't know how they're applied as well as, say, an attorney that practices in that jurisdiction would know. So typically, we will work with our foreign associate in these different countries to help us essentially kind of go back and forth with the patent office. We are providing with instructions, then they'll kind of respond to an office action or whatnot, or file a case based on our instructions. Now, I know in the U.S., and this is a very a thing I think that goes unnoticed a lot of the times, is I'm pretty sure you're familiar with design patent, and I guess I should ask you, did you guys have a design patent on it or just a utility?
Just a utility patent.
Okay. So I know a lot of times in the U.S. here, at least, people get a design patent, but just like a utility patent, it has a finite period of time before it expires. So utility is 20, design is 15. But depending on if, just the look and feel of the ornamental feature of it, you can get maybe a trade dress over time, which a trade dress, at least in the U.S., is similar to a trademark, and it lasts forever as long as you're using it. So I know I found, or I kind of talked to some people who've been able to kind of successfully secure trade dress protection on their, look and feel of their overall product, which is in a lot of ways more valuable than a design patent because it lasts forever as opposed to having that 15-year expiration time. But I guess a 3D trademark, I guess I have to look into that. I've never heard of that. Is that somewhere in Europe?
Yeah. So it's based on the shape of the product. I guess the product has to have somewhat of a unique shape to it.
Yep.
I don't know. We're not filing it here, so maybe it's not available here. But we're only doing it in the UK and EU right now. So it may be that it's that. I don't know exactly how that works. But I will say, based on what I know about it, I would actually prefer to have one of those than a utility patent, because in today's day and age with e-commerce, the patent enforcement system is a complete joke. It's outdated by 20, 25 years. It's not designed for e-commerce whatsoever. And so having utility patents on certain platforms can be totally useless. As a small business in e-commerce, they don't respect them. and they require you to get court orders to get stuff taken down. With trademarks, pretty much every platform will take stuff down based on a trademark, and then you don't have to get court orders. So a trademark, if you can use it, is way more valuable than a patent in that way.
Oh yeah, for sure. And this is, I guess, now we're definitely splitting hairs, because and I guess to Amazon's point, they have done a lot better with having an Apex program, which to their credit, that only applies to utility patents. If you have a design patent, you can't get products that are sold on their platform that infringe and say your product. If you have a design patent on it, the Apex program with Amazon doesn't work for that. However, if you have a utility patent and somebody is selling knockoffs on Amazon, all you have to do is show them the issued patent, and it's a little bit of back and forth, but you can get the infringement product taken down relatively quickly. So it seems like Amazon has come up with the times as it relates to e-commerce and with regard to utility patents and helping get knockoffs taken down. Now, with a trademark, this is why I said it seems like what you're saying, a 3D trademark, at least is abroad. And again, they just may call it a 3D trademark, but it seems like it's similar to a design patent or a trade dress, I should say, in this case, because a trademark typically protects the logo, essentially a logo or a phrase. So, for example, in your case, you have an actual physical product. Now, Nightcap, obviously, it seems like you guys have as a registered trademark, but a trademark typically protects the logo as well as a short phrase, say McDonald's or Just Do It or I'm loving it. Those type phrases or the golden arches, that protects that. It doesn't protect actual, I guess, products, 3D products, but that's a design patent or the trademark way of doing that is through trade dress. And again, like I said, a trade dress is more valuable, I think, than a design patent in that it lasts forever. Now, it's a little tougher to get because it does last forever. But it seems like what you're saying is, against a trade dress, the U.S. version of it is a trade dress, which gives more heightened protection than a design patent. It seems like in the UK or the EU, that version of it is a 3D trademark, which seems to be similar to a trade dress. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah. I'm not sure if they may have both. I don't know the ins and outs of it, but it's on the shape of the product somehow. Yep. And it's something I found out about recently, or else I would have filed for it years ago.
Yep, absolutely.
But, being able to do takedowns using a trademark that's on your product instead of just on your logo is extremely valuable. So, with how the e-commerce platforms are, I would say Amazon, like you said, the Apex program, that to me is the best out of all e-commerce enforcement by far. There are certain platforms that refuse to do anything. I'll call them out. Etsy, one of the worst. The worst, probably, actually, which no one talks about because it's a U.S. platform.
Really? I've never heard of Etsy. Well, actually, I have heard it. I haven't been on it, but it seems like they're pretty bad in terms of protecting products online on the platform.
Yeah, they like to hide behind the fact that they are for handcrafted products, which is maybe originally what they were. But I can assure you that the knockoffs of our products and many other products on there are very much drop ships from China. And are not handcrafted whatsoever. But they're hiding behind that, and they decide they don't have to do any enforcement because of that. Obviously Temu is pretty bad.
Yeah, it seems like that's just kind of a knockoff platform. Somebody was telling me about Temu and how you can go online and kind of get all this stuff for cheap, and you're looking at this stuff, you're like, man, this stuff costs way. This stuff knockoff just based on the price of it.
When knowing all my Shark Tank friends, they all have problems with Temu. A huge amount of Temu's business is just stealing small businesses in the U.S. products and drop it. I mean, the price that they sell stuff on there for is crazy. I mean, like I have friends, they have products that are $10, which is already cheap, and on Temu it's like 90 cents. Like it's insane. They sell stuff on there less than it costs some of us to make it, which is pretty insane. So,
but how is the quality at that point? I've never bought anything off of Temu, but have you experienced or kind of know anything about the quality of the products once you buy it for that less? Because it seems like the quality has to be complete garbage at that point.
I can't imagine it's good, but I have not and will not ever buy anything off Temu because it's very well known that they steal your credit card information, especially if you order through the app. So I won't be participating in any orders from that platform. But there's a lot of jokes online about their quality of stuff. So
gotcha. Nice, nice, nice. Yeah. So, and again, kind of going back to even a trademark thing, because it seems like just kind of wanted to make that distinction, at least for the audience, that again, a trademark is more so protecting a word. Because again, you're saying that the 3D trademark, which it seems to be similar to a trade dress in the U.S., that a trademark typically doesn't protect a product. It protects the name. So, and maybe you had said that in terms of the name, but to the extent that somebody is selling, say, your product, at least here in the U.S., the way it works is if somebody's selling your product, however, it doesn't have your name on it, say nightcap or your logo, then that's not trademark infringement. But if you have trade dress on a product, which does protect the actual shape of it and things like that you talked about, now that can be trade dress infringement. But a trademark is only protecting a logo or a like a phrase on that particular product. But to the extent that the product is being sold without that logo or phrase, then that's not trademark infringement. It could be trade dress infringement if you have trade dress protection on the product. That's I just wanted to make that distinction. I guess just for the audience, I'm not sure if you wanted to piggyback on that at all.
Yeah. I mean, I guess a trademark and a 3D trademark are very different.
Yeah. One protects the actual image. I mean, like you said, the shape of the product, while the other just protects the logo or some type of the name of the product, if you will.
And what you'll find with trademarks in e-commerce is that after a bit of time, like the trademark, it's good to protect your brand, but it becomes somewhat useless with how things are with search engines these days. So, they stopped listing our product with the nightcap name. They just put scrunchy drink cover, scrunchy, anything that could, relate to our product. Some of it's like alcohol protection. It doesn't make sense. Like there's a lot of very strange keywords, but they list them. They don't use our brand name. They just list it with different keywords. And usually, I think the highest like search terms is like crunchy drink cover, because people see our product online, but they don't necessarily know they don't necessarily know the brand. They know it by the product type. So they'll be like, oh, remember that drink cover that was attached to a scrunchie? So they type in scrunchy drink cover. So it's kind of irrelevant most of the time if they're using our name or not. They can still list it and get all the search volume without it. So,
and I guess I don't want to go too far down a rabbit hole, but have you thought about, because I'm a person that owns a ton of domain names, especially with regards to the IP. So have you thought about kind of protecting, scrunchy hair cover doc, just a few different domain names that are maybe the higher search domain names, so that, or higher search terms in Google, so that when people type in that, it goes to your website where you can link it to your nightcap website. So it kind of goes to that. I'm not sure if you kind of thought about that at all.
Well, the problem is that it's the infringement's mostly going on third-party sites. So it's Amazon, gotcha. Alibaba, AliExpress, okay. All that stuff. So, even our own website, we don't do that much volume in sales on our own website. Our website's mostly for bulk orders. That's where we get most of our sales on our site. So people just coming to order one or two, it's very heavily skewed towards Amazon.
Gotcha.
So not really typing in. I mean, even if some knockoff made a domain like that, it's not going to register in Google very high at all. It probably will be a few pages down. So where it does register is on Amazon, on Alibaba, on all those platforms. That's where we have to focus on the takedowns.
Okay. So let me ask you this. So getting into the meat of like this issue, when did you, because you guys have been around for a while, when did you first notice like, man, this is a big issue as far as kind of the knockoffs and trying to navigate that? As you said, it seems like you kind of done a lot in the space with kind of giving talks and speeches, and it seems like there's an article coming out that's going to be published that maybe you were a part of here shortly, as far as an overhaul in the system, at least as it relates to the e-commerce to protect the patents, which I guess I never thought about that. I mean, like I said, I know about the Apex program and they're trying to get better at it, but it seems like it's still not as quick as it needs to be to kind of protect inventors from, knockoffs, whether it's originated in China or some other country. So I guess, when did you first, going back to the question, when did you first think, like, or notice that, man, this is a big problem?
Yeah, it was probably, I want to say maybe 6 months after we aired on Shark Tank, which is probably like 18 months in. No, maybe 2 years in, because the first year was not like a huge amount of volume. It was not, we only had like $60,000 in sales.
Okay.
So, but it kind of, it correlates with your sales. I mean, there's just, there's these Chinese factories, they just scan Amazon, there's tools, you can see how much each product's selling. They're like, oh, look at this product. It's selling a ton. It's light. It's cheap. It's cheap to make. It's easy to ship. Like our product is like the ultimate e-commerce product in terms of size and weight and easiness. You don't even need a mold for it. So
Really?
yeah, I mean, it's just made out of fabric, so you don't need to. There's really no barrier.
Yeah, for sure, it's an entry.
Making it like that, yeah. So they see that, and then once we started really doing a lot of volume after Shark Tank, then they started making it. They started putting it up, and that's it's just nonstop whack-a-mole ever since then. So yeah,
that's tough. So then, when did you get involved? Because it seems like you're doing a lot with the USPTO. So did you like petition the USPTO at all about this issue? Because it seems like you kind of really took it upon yourself to, hey man, I'm gonna try to help, I guess, spearhead the change as it relates to this between you and the USPTO, which you don't see inventors or business owners do a lot of the times.
Yeah. So are you familiar with the International Anti-Counterfeiting Coalition, IACC?
I heard of it, but I'm not like too familiar with it. But I have heard of that term. Actually, another Shark Tank guest, she was telling me about it.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, they do a lot of work with the government and stuff, and they hold like roundtables and different things like that. And I have this idea where basically the government, I mean, there is no onus whatsoever on the third party platforms to do enforcements. That's right. True. So they're just like, oh, we're not selling it, like it's not our problem, which we're just the platform that it's listed on. Like if you want this taken down, go spend $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 and sue this company to get a court order, and then we'll take it down if you get a court order. And then there's 10 other listings, go do it 10 more times and spend all the money you have on getting court orders, just so we can have another 10 people list it right after we take those down. So it's not a sustainable model whatsoever. It's not built for drop shipping and different other e-commerce, the stuff that exists today. It's meant for 25 years ago when you were just selling in person, or big companies, maybe everyone had their own website for their own thing. But in my opinion, the best thing that exists right now is the Amazon Apex program. I think that that program or something similar should be federalized on a national scale by the government. Yeah. I think that every e-commerce platform doing over a certain number in revenue should be onboarded to that platform. And then decisions, basically the Apex decisions, are made through, the government can hire lawyers and stuff to basically run the program through them. And then every program, it takes the onus off the platforms, because people can deal with the government agency making those decisions, and then the government agency tells the platform to either remove it or don't remove it based on that. And then ideally you'd get an Apex ID and you'd be able to just remove stuff off platforms yourself. And that way, I think it's kind of a win-win for everyone, where the platforms don't have to spend any money. They just onboard and that's it. They let the government take care of it. I think it would make a lot of jobs for lawyers. I think it would be amazing for small businesses. And I think the only one that would lose out is
knockoffs,
the knockoffs. And I don't think that Amazon makes any money on that program, as far as I'm aware. So I don't think that they would care.
I don't think it's more of a, from my understanding, hey, put your money, both sides are putting the money up, and to the extent that they believe that, both sides believe that they're kind of in the right, but to the extent that obviously the knockoff or the infringer is not going to put the money up, so that's going to essentially, you almost going to get like a automatic judgment, or they call it a summary judgment here, where they're going to take the product down, but like you said, it can maybe come up with, I guess, on other, again, I'm not 100% sure how the Amazon platform works, but I know it's, you can take this fake page down, but then maybe another one pops up, a little later, where the infringer is creating another Amazon fake page. I guess a lot of people don't know that the USPTO is one of the only federal government agencies that actually makes money. A lot of government agencies, federal government agencies, don't make money, but the USPTO is one of the ones that do make money. So, I mean, I can absolutely, and I do absolutely agree with you that this should be kind of federalized based on, or made into law based on what the Amazon platform is doing. What do you think is a holdup with these?
I think that the government is extremely slow. I think there's been a push for this type of thing recently. I don't know what it's going to take for them to actually like take action and do it. It's so clear that it's a huge problem. I mean, it's, we have a Shark Tank Facebook group with like all the people from Shark Tank, and like it's constantly just people talking about how do you, like, has anyone had luck getting something off this platform, like it's such a big issue for small businesses. And now you have Temu and Shein just coming in and even worse. And so, I mean, something has to be done, or else you're completely losing incentive for innovation in this country when you just, someone makes something and then, 6 months later, oh no, you know what? 100 other people are going to sell my product at 1/3 the price, and I can't do anything about it. It's just, you can't, the model of going to get court orders over and over and over again is just insane. And that's the reality. So I applaud the platforms that actually do remove stuff
For sure.
by the, just because they believe in morals. So that is nice, but there are certain ones that are not going to cooperate, and you've got to do something about it.
So, well, and maybe you've kind of been through this, but I wanted to get your thoughts on, because I know you talked about, I think, the counterfeiting agency. Have you had luck or success with getting products that are shipped over that are counterfeit, obviously, kind of removed and destroyed, or is that kind of even a work in progress?
You mean like through customs?
Yes, through customs, exactly.
We haven't really done anything with customs like that. I think it'd be hard to identify our product as well, because you can't actually see that it's anything different than a scrunchie.
Yeah, that's true. Which is the good part about the product. Yep.
Yeah. So, our product comes with like nice packaging that makes it obvious what it is, but these knockoffs are just putting it in like poly bags, and it just looks like a scrunchie coming through. So I mean, that's probably the next step we could try.
Okay.
But we haven't done anything with that as of now.
Huh. No, that's interesting. Man, you bring up some very good points, especially on the IP side of things. And, that's, I guess, the good and the bad. I guess, let me ask you this. With all that, I mean, again, it seems like that's an ongoing process with IP and enforcement and things like that. Has that made, I guess, the journey and kind of what you guys have done, not less desirable, but maybe such that you wish you wouldn't have gone down this path and starting a business, protecting IP, selling the product? Or are you still kind of happy and content with kind of going the route that you did? I mean, obviously, it's just some hurdles that you had to overcome. How do you look at it kind of with everything going on the IP side of things?
I mean, you're talking about like just doing this business?
Yeah, for sure. Exactly. Because again, you talked about how this can kind of prevent or, suppress innovation. And I'm always, as a patent attorney, as an IP attorney, who have seen firsthand and have worked on products firsthand where these companies are, I mean, people, just everyday people, blue collar people are, maybe inventing something and they're selling this thing on Amazon or kind of the different platforms, and they're making good money, life-changing money. I'm not necessarily saying everybody's going to make millions upon millions of dollars, which some are, but even if you are, $300,000-$400,000 a year, I've seen a lot of people, and I've helped a lot of people protect their invention that are making $300,000, $400,000, which, maybe we're making $60,000-$70,000 a year as a blue collar worker. So I kind of see firsthand how that has been a life-changing situation for them. And so as a result of that, I'm always a proponent of create, invent, and kind of get that product out there. But I mean, obviously nothing is perfect. And hopefully the USPTO and the federal government kind of comes, it gets a lot better sooner rather than later with this thing. But with all that being said, I guess, would you wish you would have did things differently as a man? Just, it wasn't worth kind of inventing and coming up with a business and kind of going through all the headache I'm going through, or do you still think it was all worth it in the end?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I really regret is not finding out about that international patent a long time ago, because, at least then we would have our Amazon markets in the UK and EU. Sure. And, we were selling to all the universities in the UK as well before. We still do very well. We could do very, very, very well if it wasn't for it. But I would still, I would take the lifestyle, the entrepreneurship lifestyle of, being my own boss and, being able to schedule my day how I want. And, there's a lot of value to running your own business besides just the money. Yeah. And so I love the lifestyle that of running this business. I could go work from anywhere. I go visit my friends. I can work from wherever they are. And so that, I feel like that there's a lot of value. I wouldn't trade that for, a certain amount of financial trade-off. You know, it's worth a lot in terms of like lifestyle happiness and stuff. So, you know, it's still, you know, there's still money in it. It's still a great lifestyle, and also being able to kind of build your own vision and still innovate. Like, you know, we sell other stuff that we've come up with other products since then. We bundle them into gift boxes and different stuff that the knockoffs aren't doing, to raise the average order value and stuff like that. So there's things that, you know, we're doing. It could be a lot better, yes, but I definitely wouldn't trade. I think it's definitely the lifestyle I like.
No, yeah, for sure. And you said a lot of different things that I wanted to hit on. And this is, again, another part or another reason why, I mean, I not only enjoy doing these podcasts, but why they are so important, because as you talked about, you have gone through that process once already. So when you're coming up, typically, well, at least what I see with entrepreneurs, with innovators, with creators, they're going to keep innovating and creating. It's not like, okay, this is one thing, but they're going to keep doing this over time. And now you already have that experience of working with the manufacturers, working with advertising, working with the attorneys and the IP side of things. So now you can kind of expedite or shorten that process the next time around, which becomes almost like a skill or asset for you. But another thing, and I think I was talking to you about this a little bit offline, is that, man, I don't want to say, no, the attorney, maybe in this case, kind of, I don't want to say screwed you over, but a lot of people end up, it almost not, they could take advantage and be in an even better situation if they just kind of did things right on the IP side of things at the beginning. There was another guy who, I won't say his name, but I interviewed him. Everybody would know him because his product is extremely famous. And he tried to, it was another product, not the particular product that's famous, but he tried to, he filed for a U.S. application on another product. And this attorney didn't tell him about the deadline for filing a PCT application abroad, so he can kind of go into different countries. And so he missed that filing date, and now it's like kind of screwed, because he thought he was going to do well with the particular product in the European market. So just having those like just knowing that and understanding that, especially going through it the first time around, hopefully the audience, as they're kind of listening, they can kind of make sure they're writing notes of, okay, if I do kind of create a product and try to get IP, make sure I kind of know the ins and outs of kind of foreign filing and filing abroad. That stuff can kind of make a big difference. And hopefully people can learn from like the people that kind of I talk to or that come on here, so that they can have hopefully a different outcome at least going forward, which I think is, again, another part of the process. I'm not sure if you were going to say something there.
Yeah, one crazy thing to add on to that is that we had a knockoff company file for a patent on our product in Spain, and they got it. They got the patent in Spain.
Really? So they didn't cite the U.S. application?
No, the way that it works, the system in Spain. This is what I was told. I haven't looked it up myself, but they said a law firm I talked to said that in Spain, you just file it, and then people have 2 months to basically say, oh, I already own this or something. Yeah. And if it doesn't, and if no one says anything, that it gets approved. I'm not following the patent system in Spain and every country on earth to see who's publishing stuff like that. And then, I mean, we could go fight it, but then it's we're told it costs $30,000 to go do that, and just the market there, because we don't have a patent ourselves there, so it's not like we're doing much business there anyway. But just the fact that they can do that is insane.
And I filed in a lot of countries: Japan, India, Taiwan. Pretty much, Germany is a big country. I think the biggest market in Europe, but a lot of other markets in Europe, the European Union, the European Union. I've filed stuff in Mexico. I've never filed stuff in Spain. So it seems like their process is definitely different compared to what everybody else is doing. I know China, you can file a utility model, but then you can file something that gives a little bit more protection than the utility model, which is effectively equivalent to the utility application here in the U.S. That utility model goes through a very a lower bar examination process, which I guess is something that people like to follow the utility model in China. Before filing for the better patent protection. But I've never heard of a 2 months to go against this or object to it, and if nobody interjects in 2 months, then you're going to get a patent on it.
That's what I was told, and I can only assume it's true. It would be pretty obvious. It's an exact copy of it's just crazy.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I wanted to circle back on that question you had earlier about like if I would still do this or not. And one other thing, it's not only just about you know our lifestyle and stuff like that. We brought this product into the world, even though people are copying it. Still keeping a lot of people safe, millions of people safe around the world. I couldn't actually tell you how many people because it's ours plus all the other ones.
Right.
So it's a lot. And then we've spread a ton of awareness about the issue. We have over 300 million views on TikTok.
Nice.
And so we've brought the problem to light, and we've had. It's crazy how many stories we hear about it. People don't talk about it. They don't report it. It's kind of like a hidden problem, and people come to us with their stories because they know that we deal with it on a day-to-day basis. And
for sure.
just people die, people getting paralyzed, people being robbed, assaulted. Like it's crazy, and you never believe how much it actually happens. So even though our market's been ripped off a bit, it's still we brought something really great into the world that'll be here forever.
No, and I was going to say, going along, kind of piggybacking off that, I would imagine that you guys get, and that has to be a great feeling as well in terms of getting those stories of how maybe you saved me, or I don't know, you make me more confident to be able to go out and maybe have a beverage with friends and family, whatever the case may be, knowing that I have your product. I would imagine that those stories that you get has to be rewarding to a certain extent.
Yeah, and we've had people message us saying that they were spiked before and they wouldn't even go out, and now because of our product they have like the peace of mind to go out again.
Nice.
And so
like
it brings physical safety, it brings peace of mind to people who really need it, and so it's making a big difference in the world.
Nice. So then, how did you guys start working with the universities? Because again, another thing I like about your product is a lot of times you'll see a product, what they say in the U.S., we buy a lot of wasteful stuff, a lot of useless stuff we don't need, and we're just buying it for the sake of buying it. And you have a lot of fads out there where that may be a hot thing for this season, but it's probably going to be out of season maybe in a couple months or a year or two or whatever the case may be. But the thing I love about your guys' product is, like you said, you're solving a real need, a real issue, which now gives it even more applicability going forward. This is not a 2024 thing or a 2025 thing or a 2023 thing. This is a thing just especially along college campuses, women going out, having a drink with their friends and maybe not paying attention to whatever the case may be. So this is a thing that will continue to be an issue that you guys, it almost really helps out you guys, because it's not like, okay, man, I can really ride this thing out at least for the 20 years of the patent application, and to the extent that I can get a trade dress protection here in the U.S., and I'll definitely see if your attorney can get trade dress here in the U.S., but to the extent that you guys can protect like the trade dress here in the U.S., that thing can last forever, which now that's a completely different situation, because it's not like something that expires. The product, the shape of it, that's a thing that as long as you're using it, selling it, it's going to last forever, which the problem is going to continue to exist. So it's not like you guys have to worry about, this is a seasonal product, if you would.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, with the universities, we work with over 160 universities. A lot of them just buy every semester. They hand them out to students. Universities spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on promotional items every semester,
sure.
Which, a lot of them are just like pens or cups or T-shirts, like stuff like that with their logo on it. So what we have is like a meaningful promo item that shows how much you care about your student safety. And so, they colleges looking for promo items order our stuff. Colleges looking for safety items specifically order from us, because it's like the first safety product that's like fun. It's like a fun thing to use. Scrunchie. Let me wear out my scrunchie that also covers my drink.
Sure.
If you go on a college campus and ask if someone's seen it, like I bet like 75% of students, if they don't have one, they know about it.
Nice. Nice.
Between the virality on TikTok and Shark Tank and stuff like that, it's like that fun thing that students actually want to use.
Yep.
So and the way we got started with universities, I don't even know how. Like we had one reach out, we did a big order with them, and then it was just like over the course of like a few months, it just went from 0 to like I don't. They just get like they just start. We don't
Really?
reach out to them. Like we don't. We've tried. We try to do like cold calls and emails and stuff.
Yeah.
Never works. I don't think we've ever made a single sale. To like reaching out first to a university. They just come to us every day. We get emails from them. They just place bulk orders, and some of them are customized, some of them are not customized. They get them out the students. So our big season is really like March, end of February, March, beginning of April for spring break, Sexual Assault Awareness Month,
For sure.
and then back to school in August, September. Those are like the two times they order the most. So.
And again, I guess even to my point about, look at this, they're going to do that every year because, they're going to have a new group coming in every year. You're going to have spring break every year. You're going to have, coming into school every year. And I guess I hadn't even thought about that. Heck, like you said, schools have these promotional budgets that they're just giving pens and T-shirts. Why not give something that actually protects against it as opposed to just, I guess, I'm not saying that pens and T-shirts aren't bringing awareness to it, but an actual device that kind of reduces the likelihood and kind of really helps prevent it out, outside of just saying, hey, watch your drink or, just kind of words more so, but actually a device that kind of helps out differently, which is affordable. And like you said, they had the budget anyway, so it should, and it's a ton of universities throughout the country. So, man, it seems like I love the product and the things that you guys have doing. And I'm fortunate about the Europe and not being able to protect it in Europe. Hopefully you guys get that 3D, the 3D trademark over there in Europe and the UK. And like I said, I'll definitely at least inquire to your attorney about maybe the trade dress protection here in the US, because that's something that can be big as well, based on not protecting the shape of it. So I guess I want to go off into the Shark Tank a little bit here. What made you guys say, okay, let's go on Shark Tank? Obviously you guys was able to strike a deal with Lori. I'm not sure if Mark Cuban was on that one as well, but what was the kind of the mindset and the thought process of kind of going to Shark Tank?
Yeah, so I graduated. I had like one semester in college where like between when I started working on this and graduating. And so I kind of used that to get all the resources from the university. Like I won all the pitch competitions, any type of funding you get, I did it. And using their programs, their law school that they did some free stuff for us. And so when I graduated, I was like, all right, well, I don't have I'm going to try and work on this before I go get a job. See if we can make it happen. And that was I graduated December 2019. So it was like right literally just before COVID started, a couple months. So basically like January, February, I was like working on pitch decks and stuff. I was like, all right, we're going to go get investors and see what we can do with this. So, I'm working on the pitch decks and stuff. And then, then COVID hits and I'm like, all right, well, like, no one's going to buy this while we're dealing with this stuff. So, I think I didn't feel like I had a rush because like I'm not going to get a job right now. Like no one's going to hire.
Right.
So I was like, all right, like instead of rushing this, I'm just going to live with my parents for a little bit and, like, we'll just take our time with it.
Yep.
And so I was like, all right, I guess since we have the time, like, let's just apply to Shark Tank, see what happens. So we just filled out a form on their website, and then like, I don't know, a month or two later, got a call, and then just went through the whole process and somehow getting on that show is like impossible. But,
for sure. Yeah. Yep. And I would imagine, like I said, you're in a Facebook group, which I know I heard about the Facebook groups and the chats, and it's really like a family feel. When you guys were actually on the show, how intense was it just kind of being on the show? Because obviously I've heard various stories from kind of interviewing different guests who've been on Shark Tank, and it seems like it's a very intense thing. And obviously they kind of dwindled it down to an 8 to 10 minute segment, but it's like 50 minutes, an hour of you kind of pitching to the Sharks, actually them kind of asking you questions, you answering questions. So it's like real back and forth when you're in the tank.
Yeah, it went as good as it possibly could have gone. We went in really confident. I didn't know if they were going to like it or not, but we went in confident with our like what we were going to answer to certain things that they asked. We were in the COVID season, and we had a quarantine in a hotel before we went on the show, and we were in there for like 8 days, so we had literally nothing to do besides practice. I watched pretty much every episode of Shark Tank ever, and I wrote down every question I thought that would apply to us, like something they would ask us, and I had an answer ready for it. at least like some bullet points that I would hit on. I was like, all right, what do they like to hear? What do they not like to hear? Like, what's like the right, you know, what's gonna get us on the good side of this?
Yeah, on the good side.
I watched everything. I had a sheet of like 24 like business questions. So I was gonna answer like the businessy questions, and Shira was gonna do the product answers for like what the product does, what like social media stuff, all that type of stuff. Yeah, I had like 24 questions that I thought like, all right, they're gonna ask these, and I thought we were gonna get grilled and stuff, but Lori liked it so fast. I only ended up answering like 4 of them.
Really?
There's I only answered like 4 of the questions I wrote down, where the rest didn't even get to. So we had one of the fastest deals in the history of the show.
Yeah, and I was going to say, yeah, just kind of watching the show, man. It seemed like Lori, it struck home for her, and she seemed to be really passionate about it. So let me ask you this, because I know, which I've learned just from interviewing you, Shark Tank guest, that okay, you may get a deal on the show, but it doesn't necessarily kind of translate to an actual kind of deal being signed. It seems like in your case, Lori seems so passionate that I can't imagine a deal not being signed. But I guess, how was the aftermath of everything? Did you guys actually kind of go the distance with Lori, or was it some reservations, or kind of how did that play out?
No, we got it done as is, no changes or anything. I mean, yeah, nice. I've definitely heard some stories from other people, but with us, it went right through. No issues. But.
And how has she been as a partner? I know I was interviewing Megan, who had the Swift Paws, the Dog Lord course, and I think she had the golden ticket. I forget what Lori called it.
Yeah. I actually met her. I met her a year ago. She had her golden ticket on her. So I was with her and Kelly from Bug Bite Thing, and they both had the golden tickets in back-to-back years, and they both had them on their side. Had to put both the golden tickets with me. But yeah. So wait, was it a question?
Well, yeah. So just saying, what's kind of dealing with Megan, who she had to go to ticket with Lori, and she had said how Lori, her and her team has been phenomenal. She really kind of helped out, especially when say the date that the episode was going to air, helping her kind of make sure she was going to be good to be able to get the traffic from the additional traffic from the episode, and just again, she's talking to Lori, she's talking to Lori team, just very helpful and just very good to work with. So I was going to say, has that been your same experience, your guys' same experience working with Lori kind of after the fact?
Yes, I mean, they definitely helped us a lot through the airing process, and it took like what was it? It was probably 8 months, I think, from when we filmed it to when it actually aired. So it's kind of you're not guaranteed to air, so it's kind of a little nerve wracking. It's a little nerve wracking, but and then since then they're just great mentors. We have questions, we just we ask them.
Nice.
Some people think like they just like take over your business and just start like doing customer service emails for you and stuff. but it's not like that. But it's they help you out when you need it.
And I would imagine that it probably runs the gamut. It seems like you guys have a good kind of background and understanding of things between your sister and you and your sister. So they're probably just, like you said, more so mentorship. If you have a question, we can ask it. I know sometimes it seems like they're just offering to maybe, number one, just buy people businesses straight up, or they're saying, hey, you're not a good operator. They're letting them know that, hey, you're not a good operator. So me and my team would have to come in and operate it. You're maybe a good visionary or good with the, creating products, but you're not a good operator of the business. So it seems like that maybe situation is different from what you guys had. And yeah. So it seems like it kind of runs the gamut. Or even like you said, maybe your guys' terms kind of stood up, but it seems like sometimes after you get a deal, you get the paperwork from their side and the terms are just not good terms, so people don't sign it. So it seems like it's kind of various reasons for why things fall apart. But it seems like, which is good, that your guys just kind of went straight through. The team has been good. The term seems like it was pretty reasonable, which is cool. But I mean, I think that's a testament to your guys' product as well.
Yeah, I mean, when we got the deal, Shira was 17, I was 22, so I'm glad that they gave us a chance to be the operators. I think we've done pretty well. And then some deals fall apart because also the deals take a few months to do all all the due diligence. Some people weren't truthful maybe when they talked on the show, but then also, things happen in a few months. Like you could go viral and make another $1 million, and suddenly like, oh wait, that's my valuation. Like I have this deal agreed to. That's a terrible deal now. So like, sometimes the entrepreneurs are like, the ones backing out of it. So it can go both ways on things like that. So but we just kind of kept it steady, got everything done, and we waited to air to really get that momentum going.
Nice. So I'll typically ask, like, what's the biggest challenge? It seems like the challenge has just been a knockoffs and maybe not being able to get the pan overseas there. So it seemed like that was maybe the biggest challenge. What would you say was the biggest breakthrough? Was it the Shark Tank? Was it the college universities? What was the biggest breakthrough with the product and the business? Because you guys have definitely done a lot over time.
Yeah, I mean, the Shark Tank thing just overnight, it really propels you, and it gives you a certain amount of credibility that it may take you years to build otherwise. So it's kind of like a cheat code. Some people will get there anyway, but it just does it a lot faster. Sure. TikTok was, originally the best thing for us. We have videos on there. We got like 44 million views. I think we had an influencer do one that got like 60 million views.
Really?
Like crazy numbers on there. So that was originally what really pushed us.
Do you see, I guess, a correlation between when a video goes viral like that on TikTok and then the sales? Is it a spike in sales at that point? I'm always interested in, the virality of a video on TikTok in comparison to the sales.
It's kind of weird because in the beginning, it seemed to do a lot more. Now it doesn't seem to do as much.
Okay.
That could be related to knockoffs. I don't know. Something is different about the platform now. To me, they really ruined the platform with TikTok Shop. I think that totally destroyed the platform, in my opinion.
Okay.
It's very difficult to get views now, and especially the from what I heard from someone at TikTok, when you download TikTok Shop, it changes your algorithm. So the algorithm isn't based on engagement anymore; it's based on conversions. And so, our product gets a lot of engagement and a lot of views, but the conversion rate's low. So we drive a lot of traffic, and even with the low conversion rate, you get a lot of sales, but it stops even giving you views anymore because it thinks, oh, this is a low conversion rate, so you don't even get the engagement anymore. Instagram Reels does actually much better for us now. But overall, like, in the long term, the university thing is the best. Like the original viral hype. The original viral hype and the Shark Tank hype at first, it was necessary, and it did a lot for us. But in the long term, the university stuff is really our bread and butter now. So it's kind of our long term. Anything else on top of it is like extra.
And it's because it seems like I said, that's not going anywhere at all. It's always going to be a spring break every year in hundreds of thousands of universities across the country, as well as kind of just this back to school thing. So then I guess with the new products, because it seems like with just kind of having a business, it seems like after a while, people maybe want to see a new product or whatnot. Have you guys been working on any new products to kind of launch here, or is it kind of just with the flagship product, the scrunchie? Is that kind of just still working that?
Yeah, so we launched a bunch of products. The first thing we launched was a keychain version, so it's like scrunchie, but it just comes in a keychain pouch. We licensed a product from the UK that wasn't here before, called Stop Tops, and it's a disposable sticker. And so the value of that is you can have rolls of those behind the bars, and you sell them to the bars, and they can just have them, or you have like a fraternity party, they just have a roll of them, and like, any girl who wants one, just take a sticker, stick it on their drink, and then punch a hole through it with a straw. And those are like 30 cents a sticker, as opposed to the scrunchies that are like $5-6, and when you sell them in bulk. Because one's reusable, one's disposable. So they kind of have different values there. No, we also, I don't know, if you could pull up our site if you want.
And I actually saw like a bottle cap as well. Let me
Yeah, we have beer bottle tops, but we also have, we just launched one that has a hand on it. So it's like a little hand covering your drink. And it's like a funny, again, we like to make fun stuff that works. It's right. The first one on the second row is the hand.
Oh, right here. No, that's cool.
Yeah, so it's like a little hand covering your drink. And then, we have our gift box, our college box, our bachelorette box, all different stuff. And then, we do like some collaborations. We have koozies as well. they keep your drink cold, and then there's a zipper cover that covers over it. So we have pretty much something for every type of drink at this point, besides a shot, because those get drinking instantly, so it's not too much of an issue. So
also even have the straws or whatnot, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, it seems like definitely a number of products. So it seems like just kind of going with these products for the time being, as opposed to kind of anything new. But it's a nice variety of products though.
Yeah, I think we covered kind of getting something for every type of drink now. We're just kind of focused on building our partnerships and our customer base, and hopefully expanding our IP over to Europe again, and be able to take that market back. And that's our plan. We also have like continuation patents and stuff, which I think that's something important. I don't know how often you talk about those, but those have been a big saver for us. We're on our third one now, so we do have 2 patents.
Nice. Yeah, and yet the continuations, a lot of people, I guess, don't know about that or don't exercise those, but that's essentially, you have, at least in the U.S., you can have a continuation and a continuation in part. The continuation is part where you're adding subject matter to the patent. That additional subject matter gets a new filing date, but the continuation, you're essentially getting multiple patents or multiple issue claim sets based off the original subject matter. So I know a lot of times, at least where I see it, is maybe somebody gets a claim because they want to get that patent issued initially, but then they go back and file a continuation to get broader claims, especially since they already know what references are going to be cited. Is that kind of typically how you use it, or is it because having 3 on the third continuation, that seems like you guys are going after a lot of stuff then?
Yeah, I mean, it's good to just have one open all the time in case something comes up that you don't expect. The second patent we got was actually, we did a neutral patent evaluation case on Amazon. It's this person claimed that the pocket on their scrunchie was different and not infringing on our product. And so we won that case, but it was tough. Like, we had to do a lot to get it. And so what we did is we took the arguments that they used and built it into the claims to broaden our claims, to make sure that if someone claimed that again, we wouldn't have even to deal with it. Like, it would just be a very obvious thing. So, seeing what knockoffs are doing, and if they're close enough to what you're doing and you have those continuation claims open, even if they may be infringing, which this person was, that's what they determined. But just making it so it's very obvious and there's no question about it, that you don't even need to do a neutral patent evaluation case, then that's a big value.
Oh yeah, for sure. And and I guess another way that you could do the continuation is going to be the more streamlined process. When the patent issues, you do have 2 years where you can kind of do a reissue to try to broaden the claims. I guess that's another way that I guess you can do that, but that's after you have an issued patent. Just having a continuation and being able to kind of do it at that point will always kind of be easier and probably the cheaper option as well. So, that's cool. That makes perfect sense right there. I did want to talk about it, kind of give you a shout out because you have a consultant. I saw. Are you still doing a consultant on different things, or maybe not so much? I seen the site there.
Yeah, it's not something I push, but like, if someone wants to talk about, and it's funny because this is probably my biggest area of expertise is patents and stuff, but I'm not a lawyer, so I can't charge people for legal advice. I kind of, I'll make suggestions. I'm like, oh, you should go talk to a lawyer about doing this, but I'm not going to tell you if your claims look good. I help. We've been running a business for 5 years, brought it from nothing to what it is today. So, I do consulting on anything anyone wants to talk about with entrepreneurship, manufacturing, anything like that.
Nice.
Getting help with different stuff, Amazon. Happy to help.
No, for sure. And I know I typically do these Shark Tank breakdown episodes. I've been starting to do it, and it seems like Lori, she's always the one that's asking about a patent, but some of the other sharks maybe ask about it. And I always kind of said, I was saying on this one of the last breakdowns is it'll be good to just know what you're protecting, or when you're talking to investors, or what your product protect, because typically patents are incremental improvements. Now your guys are a little different. You guys have some pretty good claims. I was reviewing the claims, which I typically don't do, but I was reviewing them. The claims have some teeth to them for sure. But typically patents are incremental improvements over things that's out there. And the claims are going to define the scope of protection. And but it's good, at least as an inventor, at least from my perspective as an attorney, when you're talking to investors, to to kind of understand what's protected so you can kind of give a clear, concise answer to an investor of, hey, because they're probably going to ask you, well, no, I've seen this out there already or seen, but to be able to say, hey, our patent protects this specifically or this feature, it seems like that'll go a long way to an investor. Like, okay, this person really knows what they're talking about, as opposed to just saying, yeah, we have a patent that protects everything, or we have a patent that protects, say, the scrunchie. And it's like, no, we have a patent that protects, like you said, I think in your what's name, it's a wearable with the a wearable, I guess, fabric with that, pouch not in it. Exactly. Yeah. So, so I think just kind of having that type of knowledge and understanding, it seems like will go a long way for just an inventor or a business owner. Would you maybe agree with that as far as getting just knowing what it is that it protects, as opposed to like, okay, yeah, the attorney deals with that. It's good to, I understand the attorney deals with it, but at least have a working knowledge of the features that you guys are actually protecting compared to what's out there in the market.
Yes, I mean, if you watch Shark Tank episode, Kevin says, I don't know if there's 2 versions on there. I don't know if you saw the full one, but Kevin says, you can't patent this, like a cover on a drink, and then I had to tell him off because I knew my details.
but again, I thought that was brilliant when you said that, because a lot of people, they maybe get stuck or maybe don't kind of understand what he's talking about. But like, oh no, we're not protecting just a drink cover. We're protecting a wearable fabric that has, this pocket in with this kind of pouch connected to it, which isn't done. And I think just kind of being able to describe those things in clear and concise terms is not only going to, I don't want to say shut them up, but like, man, but it's going to come across like, man, this person knows what he's doing. He's kind of taking an extra step to understand what it is that he's protecting that's different from what's out there in the market, which I don't know. For me, I may be just kind of overemphasizing it, but it seems like it'll go a long way.
Yeah, I mean, it's important to know it too, just because, people are going to come, if you're doing well, they're going to see that, they're going to come try and knock you off. They're going to come try and find ways to get around it. Yep. So knowing, when you're doing enforcements and stuff, and knowing what your patent covers and what it doesn't is, kind of critical for, dealing with people trying to copy what you're doing. So, the patents look super confusing and stuff, but in the end, all you really need to know is the actual claims in that, the little set. I mean, obviously, if it's a very complex patent, sometimes it's different. But if you're just talking like a small e-commerce product, there's probably just a few claims on there that are pretty easy to kind of understand.
For the most part, the consumer products, and I guess as a patent attorney, that's the thing that makes a little bit maybe our job difficult, because you got to understand that the consumer products, but then as a mechanical engineer, you have to understand the compressors, you may have to understand the engine, you may have to understand another automotive part. It's just kind of a lot of different areas that you have to understand to be able to know how to write some good claims for, which, like you said, the consumer products is a little bit more digestible for the average person. But once you start getting off into more techie stuff or more heavy mechanical stuff, or I would imagine for an electrical engineer, more heavy electrical or software stuff, then it's like, okay, you got to really have to know your stuff to be able to write some good claims. And
that's got to be difficult to have to know the law, and then whatever niche you because you got big tech companies writing thousands of patents on different technologies that you may not even understand, and then come to you about ours is probably as easy as it gets in terms of simplicity.
For sure.
There's some crazy stuff that you see.
Yeah, no, but I mean, it's cool because it means a lot more to you guys, as opposed to, I'm not saying that the patents don't mean a lot more to the bigger companies, at least that I do work for, but it kind of almost seemed like a formality, and that's just kind of part of the game, as opposed to, your guys is building maybe the livelihood, building the business off this, that you're hoping to go a long way. So getting a good patent is, a lot of people unfortunately have bad patents. I've had people on here that talked about, hey, yeah, we had a lot of bad patents early on, just kind of not knowing the process. And I think, again, if you go to a good attorney, they're going to advise you, they're going to communicate with you, and they're going to make sure that you're going to have a good patent. And again, it may be a crowded field. I can tell people all the time, I can get a patent on pretty much anything, but on how much teeth that patent has or how good it is going to depend on what's out there, what the examiner finds. Obviously, I have to kind of be able to kind of argue or put forth some arguments in a way that are persuasive, but it just may not be something there based on what it is that you have. But to the extent that you have something that's new, non-obvious, and I can get some pretty good claims out there, but I think any good attorney would, and I guess that's the difference between just understanding going to a good patent attorney as opposed to maybe one that's good, not good, or maybe good, but they just don't communicate with you, which now you have situations where you miss opportunities. which it can be important. It can kind of really kill the business in some instances. I guess maybe as we wrap up here, I guess a question I always like to ask you guys is, what advice would you give to an aspiring entrepreneur? Obviously, you have done a ton of things with the business over the last 5 years, had the ups and the downs, and kind of still kind of going through it, and kind of operating a business. What advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs who maybe want to kind of get in your shoes at some point?
Oh man. Well, one thing I would say is, some people may not think your idea is the best at first, but also they may not tell you. Like, they'll think in their head it's stupid, and then they'll tell you it's good, but they don't actually think that. Like I had like one of my best friends. He was like, "Yo, I thought this was like really dumb at first, but you, like, you ended up being right." So the thing is, like, and another thing is, in the beginning, it may not be super easy. You don't really know how to sell stuff. You don't really know how to market the product. In the beginning, for the first 6 months, we couldn't give the product out, and it was like impossible to sell anything. And but if sometimes like, you explore every option, and then, all right, you got to move on to the next thing. But if you have a plan on you have a vision, a plan on how to get there, like, that there's still certain things that you can do to make it work, and you got to test everything possible that you can, because certain marketing things work for a product, certain ones don't, and just don't give up on what you're doing until you exhaust every option that at least that you can afford, to see if it'll work, because there's some crazy products that sell that you never think would sell, and it's really just it's all about execution and finding the right way to market it and explain it to people.
I definitely like that. And I was interviewing the inventor of the selfie stick, Wayne Fromm, and he does a lot of, like, aside from the selfie stick and him inventing that, he does a lot of like toy products as well. And he said something that always stuck with me in terms of your invention need to be right, RITE. You have to have the relationships, especially when you're trying to go talk to different people, whether it's going Shark Tank, going this news outlet, or just kind of having a relationship that people can help you out. You have to have the ideal, you have to have the timing, and you have to be able to execute. Because if you have the right ideal, the relationships, and the time is good, but you don't execute, then it's crucial. So to the extent that you can have all those things aligned, then you have a good
timing. The timing is a big one. I mean, our timing was really insane. Like, if we started the company 3 years earlier when TikTok didn't exist, I don't think we wouldn't be around at all. Without TikTok, we would have like been able to get started with any sales, in my opinion. And I just happened to be right when I was graduating. It just happened to be right when COVID hit, where we probably wouldn't have done Shark Tank if it wasn't for COVID. Like, there was a lot of things that just kind of went right on accident.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, that's nice. That's nice. Then I guess the last question: how can people get in touch with you? You said you don't maybe talk about or push the consultant at all. I'm not sure if you want to kind of shout that out at least there, and then if they want to kind of purchase a product, or they just want to follow you on social media, or follow what you guys are doing with Nightcap on social media, how can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, well, Nightcap is at nightcapit, nightcapit.com. We're also on Amazon. We're in Forever 21s around the country. So, I mean, you Google it and you'll find it pretty easily. And then personally, you can add me on LinkedIn. If you're interested in consulting, michaelbenard.com, even though no one can spell the last name, but it's Benarde. And, feel free to add me on there and shoot me a message.
No, for sure. Hey, audience, this was a good one. He kind of dropped a lot of stuff, especially as relates to the IP side of things, and just really the importance of kind of going through things the right way on the IP side of things at the beginning, so that maybe it doesn't cost you at least as much kind of going forward with different opportunities. But I thought this was good, just to kind of give an overview of what things could be, and just, again, the ups and downs of the journey, which regardless of what you're doing, what product you come up with, there's going to be ups and downs. But I think, as you talked about, Michael, just kind of continue to push forward, push through it. You're going to be happy that you did it. So until the next episode, audience, you guys take care.